Welcome back. Something a little different today. We've got a box that my dad brought over. I was still in bed, as you do at Christmas time, New Year's time. You tend to sleep in a bit while you're on leave. Anyway, I was in bed and he just dropped it off. So I don't know anything about this box other than what we can see. So yeah, he just asked me if I could work out what it was. So yeah, let's have a bit more of a look at it, pull it apart and see if we can work it out. We've got one long, what have we got? Hang on. Right, we've got one long 2-core cable, which is marked output. We have one single core cable, goes to the negative side of the input. And a fuse, automotive style fuse. And that's going to negative, and the negative on the output and the positive on the input are tied together. I don't know anything about this box, but I wonder if it's, given how dirty it is and the automotive fuse and the style of the wiring, I wonder if it's come out of a car and maybe it's with the input fused on the negative and the positive connected to the negative there. I wonder if this is some sort of converter for a positive earth vehicle to maybe connect up a negative earth stereo or something. I wonder if that's what it is. Let's pop some screws out and see what we've got. Oh, she's a homebrew job. I don't know if I can trust the colour coding here. And let's have a closer look. Maybe we turn it the other way so everything makes sense. So we've got some IRF 540 FIs, whatever they are, with some dags off one of the pins. Have a BYT 16P, whatever that is, and a W994 B9618. Although that might be the date code, that might be an SG3525A integrated circuit. So I had a bit of a poke around. Our power input over here comes in, goes to this capacitor. It's got a diode across it, which I assume is for reverse polarity protection, i.e. if you hook it up backwards it blows the fuse. I expect that's what it's doing. We seem to have some power going off from here to feed this circuit, and this, I'm guessing, is input power for the switching control module. This appears to be switching, if I'm reading it right, switching the voltage from this black wire into these blue wires as an AC voltage through the transformer, which I'm guessing is going to be 1-to-1. I'm assuming this is 12 volt in, 12 volt out. Yeah, and that's under the control of the PWM controller here. Then it comes out the other side on the brown wires, I would expect. This is a double diode, so that'd be operating as a rectifier out into the output capacitor, and then through another smaller capacitor and back out. So yeah, I'm leaning towards this being a converter for to run a negative earth, say, stereo in a positive earth car. Certainly looks like it from just the general dirtiness of the enclosure and the automotive fuse and what have you. So I've got this connected up to the bench power supply. positive on the bench power supply to the chassis and negative to the input. And then the multimeter is connected up in the more conventional negative to negative and positive to positive. So let's see what we get. Okay, the voltage is, the regulation is not very good, but then there is no load on it either, so that could be why. I just turn that off because the voltage was just creeping up and up and up and up, so turn that off before it got too stupidly high. I wonder what I've got that I can put a load on it with. I suppose I do have my load resistor. And I'm going to want to set that up on something because I reckon I'll set it on this case. Because there's a pretty good chance it's going to get fairly warm, I would expect. So let's try that again. We'll turn the power on. We're current limiting on the power supply. Right, so I'm putting 12 volts in, I'm getting 12 volts out. We go up to a typical automotive voltage of 13.8. Yeah, and that's regulating much better with a load on it. Well, that was kind of interesting. It appears we have as we worked out, a DC to DC power converter for running a negative earth piece of equipment in a positive earth vehicle. I've actually, since I recorded the bulk of the video, I've spoken to my dad, and he did confirm that yes, as the dirty condition of the case suggested, it did come out of a car. It was sitting next to the battery in a vintage car that he'd bought. And I'm guessing, I can't remember how old that car is, but I'm guessing it was sort of well before the 60s anyway. And whoever had owned it had previously had a radio in it. The radio wasn't in it when he bought the car, but it had a radio in it. And that would have been a negative earth radio. So someone's built this little DC to DC converter just to get a radio working in a vintage car. I did also notice that the back of the circuit board has, actually I've got it here, has Total Technologies TT069 switcher written on it. So it appears it's it's not a completely homebrew solution. It's something that someone's either, I guess, found in a magazine, or I was going to say found online, but it was probably built in the late 90s, so maybe not found online, but someone might have found it in a magazine or in an electronics store as a module that they could build up. The board itself is designed for twice as many MOSFETs as what are on it, but it was only running a car radio, so I guess the power consumption wasn't that high. Anyway, that was something different, something interesting, and see you in the next one. Cheers.